Welcome to Fighting Over Fiction. I'm Will.
I'm Tash.
And I'm Praz.
And today we're asking, does How to Train Your Dragon prove that animation is at its best when it makes the impossible feel emotionally real?
Finish her!
Yay! One take. Amazing.
That was a long question.
See, when I put you under pressure like that, it works out.
You perform like a dancing monkey.
I've had a lot of
dancing monkey.
I've had a lot of abuse today. This is only the tail end of
any
it.
abuse at all today. I'm just saying that there are better places to go for brunch. Is all. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out.
How are you all? You well? You happy?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Ecstatic.
Good. Oh, we've upset Will right before recording. What have you guys been watching this week? Do you need me to go first? Or?
No, I watched Punisher: One Last Kill.
Oh, did you see the original Punisher?
Yes, and I loved it.
Did you see the original Daredevil?
Yes, and I loved it.
Have you seen Daredevil Reborn?
No.
Okay. How is Punisher: One Last Kill?
It's either absolutely fantastic or absolutely diabolically awful, depending on what they next do with the Punisher.
Yeah. Punisher is not a main character, I think. That's what I think. I love Punisher. I love the TV show, but I don't find the Punisher a strong enough lead. But I think the Punisher is in the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I think it must be some kind of lead up to that. They did introduce kind of like a baddie almost to it, but it seemed like the whole thing was sort of like an appetizer for something else. So if nothing else now comes out after this, it really was awful because you're like, I don't really know what the point of it was. If something else does come out after this, which I'm hoping to, from the new Spider-Man movie, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah. That's often the way with the Marvel universe at the moment, isn't it? It's like, here's a thing, and if it grows, it becomes something good. But if it's on its own, it's no good.
I have to mention the most awful CGI part or scene during it as well. There was something really weird about it. It's like he's falling off a building, and then it suddenly goes to like this weird 2D CGI. Whoever was doing it, that was a half a day Friday. They had to go down the pub or something. There was something not right with that.
Was it kind of like the anime scene in Kill Bill kind of style?
No, it wasn't on purpose.
As in it was bad?
Oh yeah, it wasn't an artistic choice or anything. It literally was like someone has done some really bad CGI. If that was you, I'm really sorry, but...
Oh, I want to watch it now. Send me the episode. I just want to see it.
I might just find that scene.
I do love John Bernthal though. I think he's chronically underused in the TV and film industry. Tash, what have you been watching?
I've been carrying on with The Simpsons.
Oh, you've been on your Simpsons this week.
I have. Yeah, I'm on season 2 and I've just watched Bart versus Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Which I'm learning about The Simpsons. So I think I was quite naive that it was just plain comedy, but this hits you in the heart a lot of the time.
Yeah, I called The Simpsons one of the greatest shows ever made, and that wasn't like a lol they make butt jokes. No, it's an incredible TV show.
Yeah.
Especially for its time as well. Like for a cartoon to hit that hard was not normal. Yeah, amazing. I was so looking forward to you watching The Simpsons. I watched a show this week called The Crowded Room, which stars Tom Holland of Spider-Man fame, and it is about the first court case in which a person's defense was that they had multiple personality disorder. So it's like based on a true story, and it's absolutely fascinating to question the idea of if a person has like multiple personality disorder and they commit a crime, are they guilty? Or is there like their alter ego guilty because the person that they are has no memory or control? It's really, really good. It's really, really good.
And which ego are you trying at that point as well?
That is exactly the thing. Like it is a really fascinating take on like mental illness as a whole. It's a strong recommend from me. Will, tell us about dragons and how we might go about domesticating them.
Dragons!
Domestication.
Both equally as good. How to Train Your Dragon was released in 2010 and is loosely based on Cressida Cowell's book of the same name. Toothless was partly inspired by cats, dogs and horses, which helps make him feel animal-like, expressive and emotionally real. The flying scenes were designed with help from cinematographer Roger Deakins, giving the animation a more cinematic live-action feel. Hiccup is voiced by Jay Baruchel. Did I get that right?
Don't know.
That's his name now. Whose awkward, nervous delivery became a huge part of the character's identity. Sort of like this delivery. The score was composed by John Powell and became one of the film's most celebrated elements, especially during the flying sequences.
So, this is your first watch, Will, of our run of movies. I have seen it. Tash has seen it.
I've seen this.
Will has not seen it until now. So I am desperate to find out what Will thought of How to Train Your Dragon.
It was really good.
You know how you said Everything Everywhere All at Once was Fraz coded?
Yes.
This movie is Will coded.
Oh,
isn't
100%.
it?
Yeah.
Did you know going into it that Toothless was going to end up being a good guy? Did you know that the dragons weren't as evil as we all thought they were?
No, not really. I know I have some pictures of Toothless and like merchandise and stuff, so I kind of knew which way that was going, but not with the rest of the dragons or anything.
How did that hit you?
I thought it was really nice.
Yeah.
I like animals, so that kind of was really like, really kind of what's the word? Like really touched me almost. I like that kind of things.
Were you on the dragon's side like from the start, where you were like, "What? No, they just want some sheep, man."
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
They can all share them, surely.
Tash, how do you feel about this movie?
I love this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do love dragons.
I love dragons.
I think one way to improve anything is with dragons.
100%.
To be honest with you, I remember when this movie came out, and it was. I couldn't believe it was 2010. It was like so long ago, but it was great then. And I think it's still great now. It's definitely a thinker. Like you can definitely go in deeper than you need to, and that's why I was surprised it was 2010, because it's not your typical like naughty surface level kids cartoon, is it?
Yeah.
It's got layers like an onion.
I mean, I think it helps that there's just such an array of like literary material, like the books coming from there. There's going to be a lot more going on in the books than there would be in a film.
Adaptations, man. Like, this is why I'm all for adaptations.
Do you think they expected it to do so well?
The books did very well, didn't they? They're so popular. So I'm not surprised. But I think it's still loved, isn't it? Even now, 16 years later. Jeez.
The film had like a certain vibe about it, like it was just a one-shot type situation, and especially at the end, it didn't seem like it hinted towards a second film. So I
like that. I like it when they do that though, because it's not an assumption of we're going to do a sequel. This is a story in itself encapsulated, and this it could stop here and you'd be happy.
Yeah, I love that. When they build a world, they finish a story, but there is an opportunity for a sequel if you want it. We watched Margot's Got Money Problems this week as well, and that is one season, and it is a great story in one season, but it's been renewed for a second season because you can expand on it. And yes, much like the show about someone who's on OnlyFans, Toothless should set up an OnlyFans. Is that one of our questions today? How much would Toothless make on OnlyFans? Let's find out.
Is the film's emotional impact driven more by its animation and direction than by the actual plot?
So I think this film relies heavily on its animation, and that isn't like a criticism of it. I think it's like I think it's a medal for it. This film, whenever you manage to emotionally capture a non-human entity like a dragon or an animal, or in like Project Hail Mary, a rock, I have great respect for the animators. And it's interesting to learn that it was based on like cats and dogs. Now I can totally see that, like the way it works. The plot's really familiar. You know, we've got the legendary dad and the queer coded son not living up to expectations, but he succeeds in his own way, winning over the crowd and uniting two warring sides. You know, we've heard this story a million times, and I think all the emotion comes from the animation of Toothless. But also the way his relationship with Hiccup develops. Like, I think their like enmity growing into friendship is paced absolutely perfectly, and it runs concurrently with the improvement in his dragon training and the understanding of the world. That whole montage that leads up to his first flight on Toothless, I think is absolutely perfect. I think it is the pinnacle of the movie. I think the first half of the film was better than the second half for that reason. But I think, again, all of that, we've seen it all before. It's just animated so brilliantly. And again, this is why I was surprised it's 2010. I didn't know they were that good at animation in 2010, but clearly they were, because wow, they had me. The eyes, man, the eyes.
Nice.
Do you think it's well animated? I think the dragons are so well animated in it. something really weird about the way the people have been animated. They've got like this weird cell shading around them. Like,
what do you mean by cell shading?
Like kind of like this weird black outline around them, and kind of like, you know, when you kind of get like the
like
lines on your
green
cheeks
screen
and stuff. It's sort of like that, yeah. And I really couldn't keep my eyes off it. But I even said to Tash when we were watching it, and she said it is 2010. You have to give it take it a little bit of salt. But yeah, so for 2020 it's pretty good. But
there were certain things they nailed back then, like the water in this movie. It looks like actual water, but then they were like, yeah, but we can't do people.
Yeah. But Toothless was so good, so well animated in it, but that did make sense because I'm like, well, they're going to sell merchandise on him.
Yeah,
they're not on.
I mean, it's definitely the right way round, because if the dragons were animated awfully, then it would be worse. Whereas you kind of can forgive the people. It's like, yeah, okay.
We go on to that later, don't we? There's a good question about that.
Yeah.
Actually, Tash, congratulations on your questions again.
Thank you.
Tash, you think this is plot driven, don't you, rather than animation?
No, it's a balance.
Okay.
Definitely a balance. I think the story in itself is simple, but it has a really strong emotional spine, which we kind of get a real good feel of from the start. I think this film does not pull any punches at the start. We're thrust into the situation where the dragons are stealing the sheep, the humans are trying to stop them, and Hiccup is running around in absolute chaos. Which I loved, and we know about him straight away. We know about him battling his own identity, his place in the family, and what his dad expects him to be. And you know, I think we learn very quickly it's about a boy who realizes the enemy isn't what he's been taught. And I think it gives the plot real weight, and then the animation kind of really feeds into that as well. Because so much of Hiccup and Toothless's bond when they get together is built through expression and a lot of silence, because Toothless doesn't speak. But there's so much in how Toothless, even the sounds he makes and the expressions he gives Hiccup throughout the whole thing. And I've written down the eyes as well. There was so much in just how Toothless was looking at Hiccup through his eyes. I think without that visual storytelling, the plot may become a bit dull. Because again, as you say, I do think it's a very familiar story. But it's the animation that then balances that out and makes it more compelling.
For sure. And again, I don't mean that as a criticism either. Like, there is only a finite amount of stories.
Yeah.
I love that, like you say, I love that opening scene because it is... bring this up a lot. It's the opening scene that builds the entire world and tells you all about the characters really, really quickly.
And usually I complain about voiceover, but I think when you're doing a family film like this, you do need some sort of like introduction, and through Hiccup's voice, it throws us straight in. And I think it felt like a bit like a storybook. Yeah. It's like if you were reading How to Train Your Dragon at home with your kids, Hiccup kind of takes that role of picking up the book and reading, and then as gradually it kind of turns from a storybook into the film itself.
How do you feel about when a movie starts with like text on the screen, like Vikings always battle dragons, etc., etc.? How do you feel like that?
It depends. Sometimes people can really overdo it and they write a whole essay. Sure. I mean, I guess the most prime example is the Star Wars opening sequences, which are always this reams of text. Yep. And we know that and we love it because it's very Star Wars. But in any other films, it's quite hard to forgive when it's a load of text on screen. If you've just done a few sentences, fine.
Do you prefer it to voiceover?
Ooh, no.
I
would always prefer voiceover because you get the character in there.
Sure, yeah.
It written on a screen's very...
Next time you watch a Star Wars movie, like really read the text really carefully, because you'll find out they don't actually say anything at all.
No, they don't, do they?
It's good guys good, bad guys bad.
Yeah. But it's just Galactic Empire bad, Rebellion good.
Yeah. Will, did the animation or the plot grab you most?
Definitely the animation. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot in it to argue really with. It is, as you said, I think I've got down eye contact as well between Toothless and Hiccup. It is their relationship that's displayed through kind of like the physical connection when he's reaching out, and then there's kind of like a bit of uncertainty about touching him on the face and stuff like that, and then fitting the tail addition to fix his tail, and then some of the plot I actually found quite jarring, especially of his father. I thought some bits of that were more frustrating than anything else, and not in a frustrating because it's driving a good story. I mean just like really bloody frustrating.
It's the whole like it's all a misunderstanding. If only we communicate and trust each other a little bit more, then everything would be fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, like now that you brought up his father, because is his name Stoic? Stoic. He's like the antagonist of the story, if you will, other than like the Queen Dragon. But I don't think he's a bad person at all. Like he's genuinely doing what is best for the island, and he's doing what he thinks is best for his son. I genuinely think he's a good guy trying to do good things. But yeah, there are, like, when he insists on going after the Dragon Island, that's the bit that gets me, when it's like, just slow down for a minute, just like have a conversation. Like, yeah, I'm with you there.
I think for me, he's like a bit of a representation of society as a whole, and this is going very deep, and how kind of society looks at something different and unfamiliar and immediately labels it as bad. Yes, the dragons are stealing their sheep, but they haven't worked out why they're stealing the sheep. They think that they're obviously eating them for themselves, but then we obviously find out about the queen dragon. But I feel like he is like the forefront of society, and how we as a society don't like different things.
Don't like change. We get into that later as well, don't we? Like I say, this film is deep. So maybe it is the plot, Tash. Maybe you're right. I think maybe the animation is just so good.
Yeah,
that it overshadows the plot.
I do think it's a good balance, actually. Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Cool.
I don't think his dad's a good person.
Oh, daddy issues, Will.
You know me so well. I just think the way that he talks about his son to hit the whole village is just, you can't, even if you didn't get on with your son, I feel like that was a step too far.
He's not a good father.
No, but then I still think that kind of then has some crossover, because then he's only interested in his son when it is something that personally benefits him, not even necessarily the village.
Well, there is the moment when he decides he wants Hiccup to be a dragon fighter, and then we have that fun flip where Hiccup's like, no, I definitely can't kill dragons. Like, he is maybe... No, yeah, you're right. He does just want himself to look good, doesn't he?
He could just be like, no worries, son, you can be the sword sharpener if that's what you want to do. I love you.
Yeah, no, he's not a good father, for sure. But being a father and a leader of an island are two very different things, and you can't treat them both the same way. You'll learn this.
I mean, bad people can be good leaders too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think he's doing what's best for the island, maybe... at the expense of his relationship with his son. You know? You're both just nodding at me.
It's like a wow moment. It's like, yeah.
So you don't think he's a good person at all?
No. Well, no, that's a bit harsh. He's definitely... He's not the worst person, but I can't see how those two can live... Those two words can always live with each other, of him still kind of wanting best for the island and best for his people, and then still being such a bad father.
Yeah.
Like that does cause issue, I think, with me.
Yeah, and
there is like some middle ground, you know. Does the animation make Toothless feel more human than some of the actual human characters?
I wouldn't say he appears more human than human characters, but he reveals more about the petty side of human nature.
Oh, he represents humans rather than appearing like them.
Yes, I think so.
Again.
I think because he doesn't speak, the animation has to communicate everything, as we've already said. I think his face, especially his eyes, make him really emotionally readable without turning him into a human, which I think is really important. We don't want him to be like a human. He still feels like a dragon, but he's got intelligence, fear, humour and pride, all of which humans generally have if you're a good human.
Do you think he feels like a dragon? Well, which I know is a ridiculous question, because you know what I mean. Like he doesn't have a lot of the dragon hallmarks. Like he doesn't have scales. He doesn't breathe fire. Like he doesn't even have.
He looks very different to the rest of the dragons as well. I know he's the Night Fury, but like he does look very different.
I kind of took him as the Hiccup of the dragons.
Misunderstood. Well, yeah, he is misunderstood.
He looks different. He acts a bit different.
Well.
Yeah, misunderstood. Yeah.
He does seem a bit all powerful, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, again, like Hiccup, because when Hiccup first meets him. Later on, he then describes it as he saw himself in the dragon, and they were both as scared as each other. So it literally, to me, was.
I don't think Toothless was scared at any point. I think he knew that he could annihilate Hiccup if he wanted to.
Within 10 seconds. I also think that Toothless often reflects the flaws in the humans around him. I think we see through him how quickly people misread differences as danger, and how fear turns into cruelty, and how communities can cling to old beliefs simply because they've been taught to, which I think links.
This is the way we've always done it.
Yeah, and we have to keep going whatever happens. I think he exposes how small-minded the Vikings can be, and therefore how small-minded the human race is as a whole.
Yeah. Small-mindedness is really, like, it's definitely a focus of this film, isn't it? I think small-mindedness can be excused sometimes, because they don't know any different. But I suppose, do you think the dragons are less small-minded than the humans in this?
No, because again, they're so desperate, aren't they? Because they have to feed this queen dragon. They're just doing everything they can to survive. It's basically survival of the fittest, isn't it?
They're like drones, aren't they? They're just buzzing away. It's interesting, Will, what you said about the what do you call it, cell shading around the humans. So I don't think that the animation makes Toothless more human, but I think the animation makes the humans less human.
They do look strange, I do have to say.
They are, yeah, like particularly all the adults. They're very like caricature-y, and I think that makes them less sympathetic and like harder to connect with. But I think that's a deliberate thing that they've done. They wanted to. This is why I didn't want them to make a live action. It doesn't need it, this film, because you're meant to feel more for the dragons. You're not meant to recognize yourself in the humans. You're meant to, like you say, Tash, you're meant to recognize yourself in the dragons. And the children are much less caricature-y, and then you realize that all the dragons are like represented in the different kids. So I think you've smashed it there, Tash. Yeah, the dragons are meant to represent parts of us.
It was so fantastic when you had the two twins go on the twin-headed dragon. That was just absolutely perfect.
Yeah. When you watch this film again, you suddenly realize how blatantly obvious it is that all the dragons are coded for all the children. Like, it's wonderful. Although I don't think Toothless and Hiccup match. I disagree with you there, Will. Like, I think their relationship is really quite problematic's probably a strong word, because Toothless is entirely reliant on Hiccup. Like, he can't fly without Hiccup, and that's because Hiccup damaged him.
Isn't Hiccup nothing without Toothless, though, because he was useless before?
Well, no, because he still had an entire village behind him. He could, like without Hiccup, Toothless would literally starve and die in that valley. Whereas without Toothless, Hiccup would just be like a substandard Viking.
I mean, I think Hiccup was very lucky that Toothless ended up trusting him, because he pretty much maimed the poor dragon.
Yeah, for sure. There is that moment when he cuts the ropes, and I think that is the moment that Toothless kind of like forgives him, I suppose. But when you set fire to a house and then put it out, are you a hero? No, because you set fire to the house in the first place.
It's almost that they're both forced to do something. They're both forced to fight each other, and I think it's then when you come face to face with your enemy, as it were, that you then you humanize each of them, or you see each other.
Oh, that's a good way of looking at it. Like, Toothless understands that they are just the humans are protecting themselves.
And then the dragons are forced to do it because obviously they're feeding the bigger dragon. It's kind of like in those war films where everyone's fighting across the lines, and then you find two people in a trench, and then they're suddenly, you're just another guy.
Like the football match in World War I.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't think of it like that. You're giving Toothless a lot more intellectual credit than I am. All right, yeah, fair enough.
Is it a great family film because it trusts children with big emotions?
I think it does, but it again, I like the word balance today. I think that it balances big emotions with accessibility and doesn't talk down to children. I think it deals with fear, rejection, parental disappointment, loneliness, violence, grief, and identity in a very real way. It doesn't become too much or too alienating. I think it's very easy to probably kind of lose the kids if you go too deep too quickly, and I think this film does it really well. So the adventure and humour keep it watchable for younger audiences, and obviously the animation works really well, especially of the dragons, because they are very kind of childlike in their appearance as well, and that kind of matches to what you were saying, Will, about the kids having a dragon each. I think that worked really well. Again, while the emotional stakes give older viewers something to connect with, obviously, like you just said, Will, off mic, about the dad going in to save Toothless after he threw Hiccup out, and you were really mad he threw Hiccup out of the water, thinking he was interfering. So 100%. You definitely connected there. I think it trusts the kids overall to understand complicated feelings, but gives them a story that feels exciting, funny, and hopeful. It doesn't simplify the emotions, just presents them through a world they can engage with. And who doesn't like dragons?
You've actually written here, Tash, and who doesn't like fucking dragons?
Yes.
Which can be taken in many, many ways.
That's why I left out the fucking at that point. And we're talking about a family-friendly movie, so I thought,
Sure. Sorry if you're listening to this with your children. Yeah, I think like we said, there's definitely layers to this movie, isn't there? You can see it as like very, very basic surface level. It's the misunderstood kid reconnecting with their dad. And you can also look at it from a perspective of like war and like soldiers following officers. How much do we blame the soldiers? How much do we blame the officers? How much do we blame the tradition? I think the biggest takeaway from this movie for me is the idea of always considering another perspective. Like, the humans think the dragons are bad because they're stealing their sheep. The dragons think the humans are bad because the dragons are attacking them. Then we learn about the queen dragon, and then the little dragons are just trying to survive. But then the queen dragon is also just trying to survive. Like,
she could do it. She could find food herself, right?
She'd destroy the whole island.
I mean, I guess she would. Yeah.
And what about the poor sheep? Has anyone considered them? Like, what are they thinking through all this?
Either way, they're getting eaten.
Either way. Yeah, that's. Well, this is just it. Like, from the sheep's perspective, the humans are worse than the dragons, probably. You know.
That's true, actually. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because Toothless likes fish.
Yes.
Oh, when he first gave the fish to Toothless, I'm really angry at the animators for drawing such a sad face on the fish. Was that really necessary?
No one gives a shit about fish.
It was so sad.
Even vegetarians like, nah, you can eat fish, that's fine. I think the idea of looking at a story through different perspectives and shades of grey is always the most compelling form of storytelling. Like Wicked, for example. You know, I love the idea of telling stories through the eyes of the villains and considering, like, look at Star Wars as well. You know, we look at it through the point of view of the stormtroopers is always interesting. Like, they're big on that at the moment, aren't they? And I think it's great to give kids that question. And you can have like a 6-year-old watch this and they'll take one thing, a 10-year-old will watch it and take something else out of it. And I think it's one of these movies where you can watch it more and more as you grow older and take more and more from it. And those are always going to be the best family films for me. This is why I love Frozen so much as well. I think there's so much you can take from it. And I saw a lot of Frozen in this movie as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the animators or the writers of Frozen saw this and went, we can be more in depth. We can be more emotional with our characters now. Yeah, it's wonderful.
So maybe I'd like Frozen more if there were dragons in it.
Like obviously, you'd like anything more if there were dragons in it, right? Yeah.
Replace Olaf with a dragon.
But I think like princess movies are always going to have a different feel to them to Viking dragon movies. But we're essentially telling the same story about who's the bad guy and like coming to terms with your own, like you say, identity and stuff. Big Willie?
I saw it similar to the Lego movie. I think it's like really simple on the surface, but you can then kind of reach down, for you two probably a bit too far and overread it.
Excuse me.
I think it is just a really nice, simple plot on the surface. I think it does trust children with the emotions. I think there are some kind of, especially when you're involving parental emotions in there, that can be quite hard for them to understand, and I think it does come across in quite a good way, kind of an easy, digestible way, you know?
Yeah. Is this movie better or worse than Shawshank? Don't answer.
Are we asking this question every week now?
I was about to answer.
Or is it better than Titanic?
Oh yeah, it's better than Titanic.
It's not better than Titanic.
Would the story feel as powerful without the flying sequences, or are they the emotional spine of the film?
This question I found really interesting because before I'd read the questions, me and Jen were about to watch the film, and I said, I wonder what the question is for this film. And Jen said, slightly jokingly, would it be as good without dragons? And I kind of read this question as, would this film be as good without dragons? Whenever I watch movies like this, I like to try and picture it as a more straightforward human realism story. You know, take away the magic, take away the dragons. Like, what story are we telling? So, say the Vikings could represent traditional conservatism. The dragons are literal change. Hiccup is a rebel child, which I suppose makes the queen dragon socialism or something. Or you could have, like I say, the soldiers, you know, the Vikings are the allies, the dragons are the Axis, and the queen dragon is, you know, Hitler, I suppose.
Talking about reading too far into a film.
You see what I mean? Like this is what I try and do with these films. So like taking away the flying sequences and replacing them with like conversations, dialogue, and taking away the dragons and replacing them with humans. Taking away the cartoon aspect and replacing them with Colin Firth. My point is that this is a great story without the dragons. It's a great story without the flying sequences.
How to train your sheep, how to train your pig, how to train your mouse.
Sure, how to train your child. Like it's how to brainwash your soldiers. So to answer your question, would the story feel as powerful without the flying sequences? I think yes. I think absolutely they would. Like I say, when the big flying sequence came, I think that is over the peak. I think the peak of the film comes before it, and not that it like dramatically goes downhill after that. But when I hit a flying sequence, I'm a bit like, yep, I've seen this before. Like I've seen Aladdin.
Yeah.
Like I know what's going on.
I've seen Aladdin, done that.
It's kind of like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban when he gets on Buckbeak and flies around.
Yeah,
hippogriff.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, yeah. Apart from this is much better animated. We must do a Harry Potter because.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, the fight. Well, I suppose Harry Potter is going to be coming out soon. We're going to have to touch on it soon. Anyway, we're getting waylaid. So my answer is yes. It would be just as good, just as powerful without the flying sequences, and I believe without the dragons.
Cool.
Tash?
Well, I was going to say no, but you've convinced me otherwise now. I mean, I will go from a different angle then. So in terms of the flying sequences, I think the one that we've just talked about, the one that's the peak of the movie, I think it hits in a very different way because we see the dragons flying from the start, right? Like the first scene, they're flying around stealing sheep, but it hits so different because you've got that emotional push behind it.
We get some really cool dragon POVs in that scene as well, which is definitely deliberate.
Which I loved that, and I think once Hiccup and Toothless fly together, the flight becomes more personal to the audience and to the characters themselves, and I think it shows their trust developing. I think visually it's really powerful. However, it doesn't need the dragons.
Yeah,
you could do this anyway.
It makes it great.
Yeah.
And like you say, who doesn't like fucking dragons? But this I don't think it necessarily needs it. But I think this and this is not to saying like the dragons like ruin it in any way, shape, or form. I do think the dragons enhance it. I think the flying scenes enhance it. But I think the real power of this movie is in its layers and in its story.
I think this is probably where the difference between watching this film as a casual viewer and then watching it for the purpose of over-reading into it or to talk about it on a podcast maybe, because I just saw it as, it wouldn't be the same movie without flying dragons because the whole thing is about flying dragons, whereas you've broken it down into such a deep level about the key ingredients of the story. Again, it's one of those ones where it depends how you're taking the movie.
Well,
I think
Cressida Cow had to put it together, and the writers had to put it together. That was their.
That's fine. Right? Yeah, but it's just that how deep do you read into it? For a simpleton like me, I'm like, dragons flying, cool. Whereas to other people, it's
I have to. This is how I survive.
This is how I thrive. This is my sustenance.
Will, is there anything that you read too deeply into? In fiction based, not in real life, because
no, there definitely is. I think for kids' movies, though, I tend not to. I try and take them at the surface level.
And just to be clear, that wasn't like me throwing shade. It was like,
I didn't take it like that.
Ever think about anything? Like, what is the thing that you watch where that like makes you go down rabbit holes?
War movies, especially, because I can't watch a war movie and go, explosions, guns, cool.
Sure, yeah.
I watch a war movie and genuinely think how horrifying it is. Like warfare was really, really like emotionally affecting, I think, for me.
Okay, I really must watch that.
Yeah, just someone screaming in a house pretty much for 2 hours. It's like, and then I'm obviously most of the way through, All Quiet on the Western Front, and I feel like I can't finish that because it's just so affecting almost.
I think like you kind of connect more with like a historical. I don't know, not like necessarily
Viking. This is historical. What are you about?
Vikings didn't wear horns. It's not very accurate.
I love how of all the things in this movie that he decided to be the fictional part is the
I think it's because it's animals again. And I think a lot of people like myself, they see animals and they just want to connect with it on that level. And I think because I've connected with the film on the animal level, I then can't see it without the dragons flying or without the flying sequences, because that's the part that's really grabbed me.
Sure. I find that fascinating because I see this film as a war film, but I can't watch war films. So,
I see why you see this as a war film. Yeah, because again we talked about the meeting in the mortar hole and coming together and seeing each other as people, as it were. So no, I get that.
One common enemy was the Queen Dragon in the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, or Hitler, as I described him.
Yeah. So, does How to Train Your Dragon prove that animation is at its best when it makes the impossible feel emotionally real?
Can we talk about this question before we answer it?
Yes.
Probably should have that start, maybe.
So, prove that animation is at its best when it makes the impossible feel emotionally real. So, are we talking about when something makes the impossible feel emotionally real, or is it at its best when it takes something that is impossible and makes it feel emotionally real?
Second one.
Yeah.
The latter, yeah.
Yeah, good. It's such a good question, this, because you know how I was breaking it down and making it into like a real human story?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think animation is at its best when it takes something impossible, something completely fictional, and makes you think about it as a war movie or as a coming-of-age story, and it makes it feel emotionally real. So my answer to the question is a resounding yes. I don't see the point in, and this is why I don't really get on with a lot of like adult cartoons, because I think animation should be impossible. That you should be doing things that you can't do in live action, making the impossible feel emotionally real. So yeah, I love this question, and I love considering how that is why animation is important, and why like Disney and Pixar and whoever made this movie, DreamWorks, thank you, are so important, because they give you such brilliant access to such wonderful stories and make them like hit you in the feels.
I mean, dragons are real, but hey,
dragons were real.
They are. There's got to be one somewhere hiding.
They're extinct, Tash. They're extinct, unless they're in the moon.
Egg. That's true. The big craters in the moon.
Yeah. So, Tash, do you think that animation is at its best when it makes the impossible feel emotionally real?
100%. Yeah, I think so. Like, you really connect. Again, as we were talking about Toothless being so the person we connect, or the character we connected to the most. With the humans, not really. So, apart from Hiccup, obviously, and we talked about the kids being animated slightly differently to be a bit more relatable. But yeah, no notes.
Yeah. Well.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Not really a lot to say, is it? It's just 100%.
Great.
Is this our first unanimous yes?
I think we've had them before. Probably not so succinctly though.
Yeah. Normally there's a few like caveats in there, isn't there? But yeah. All right. What are you watching this week, guys?
What are we watching this week?
I'm back on For All Mankind, which I have bigged up on this show many, many times. It is season 5 time, which I'm very excited about.
How is it a season 5? Because sometimes when it gets that deep in, it gets a bit...
It's not as good, but it's a really relaxed show, but you do feel yourself really drawn into it. I thoroughly enjoy it, and the episodes are an hour long. But they don't feel long. They feel really like each one has a little story inside it. It's a really, really good show. And they're expanding the universe as well. Like there's another Apple show called Star City out, which is based on the For All Mankind universe. So like I feel a bit like I'm at ground zero at something that might really become something great. But what are you guys watching?
I need to get on the season 2 of Rivals. I loved that so much.
That's an episode drop per week though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I need to get on that and catch up. But yeah, no, I loved season 1.
Yeah, it was great.
It was so good.
Will, what are you watching?
I'm trying not to come to these anymore and just say I've watched Stargate, so I'll probably just watch a film from the list of things I need to watch.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Enjoy your film. Well, guys, lovely as always, and keep on fucking those dragons.
Woo!